Hello, and welcome to Pharmacist Answers. I'm Cynthia, and I will be your host. You're listening to my Periscope broadcast turned podcast. Hope you enjoy. So now that the weekend is over, your liver has probably done a lot of detoxing for you, depending on what you've been doing, whether you've had a fun weekend and it's had to detox the adrenaline or the recreational drinks that you might have had over the weekend, or if you were like me and you had to work the weekend, then it helped detox your body from the stress hormones that your body produces. So I wanted to talk about and explain how your liver actually helps detox those things from your body. Here's my little picture again, one more time. Oh, is it going to focus? Oh, it's upside down. There we go. This is your liver lobule. Your liver has hundreds of thousands of these with your hepatocytes in their little pinwheel. And all of these hepatocytes have enzymes in them. And enzymes are essentially, in biology, we consider enzymes catalysts. There are certain processes in your body that probably could happen all by themselves naturally, but they would be really, really slow. So an enzyme actually causes that natural process to just speed up faster. So I think of enzymes as assembly line workers, where on an assembly line, there's usually a person or a machine that does the same motion or the same action on a bunch of different things as it passes down the line over and over again. And that's what your enzymes do in your liver, as certain things that the hepatocytes absorb for them to work on. There's a certain enzyme that's responsible for breaking a certain thing apart. And then there's another enzyme that's responsible for sticking something else in that spot, or whatever the process is to make the drug or the hormone that, after it's done its job in your body and it doesn't need to do its job anymore, the liver takes those things in, breaks them into inactive parts, and then ships them back out to be disposed of in one of your waste systems, either through your intestines to come out in your poop, or to be filtered out later by your kidneys to come out in the pee. So those are the two exits that things usually take. So those enzymes, that's how they work. There's a lot of drugs, prescription drugs and over-the-counter drugs, that go through your liver to either be processed to become active, or they are processed after they've done their job so your body can get rid of them, because sometimes drugs are usually like a one keyhole kind of tool. So it does its job in its spot and then it's done and it's worn out. So it has to go through the liver to then be disposed of. So a lot of prescription drugs and over-the-counter drugs go through your liver to go through this process to be eliminated, because you don't want it to stay around forever, because then it can poison you and become toxic, and that's not good. The drugs are good in the spots that they need to work, and then once they're done, they need to go away, because they can cause more damage than good after they've done their job. And then your liver is actually responsible for processing your used up hormones. So your body produces hormones, things that chemicals or quote drugs that your body produces naturally. Your sex hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, adrenaline. Once your body uses it and gets that jolt that it needs from the adrenaline, then you don't need it anymore. So the liver has to process it and get rid of it. Cortisone or cortisol, which is your stress hormone, which I dealt with a lot this weekend. It does its job to get you through the stressful situation, and then you don't need it anymore, so your body can get rid of it through the liver. Your liver helps get all of those things out of the way, because again, if they just floated around, your body produces new hormones as you need them. So if all the old hormones were still floating around, then all kinds of sorts of things could happen, especially when it comes to the types of things that your hormones do in your brain, when it comes to like your emotions and your decision making. You'd just be a hot mess if those hormones stayed around, and instead of the enzymes in the liver breaking them apart and making them inactive and getting rid of them for you. And the most important, or the most popular, I guess, it's not necessarily the most important, because a lot of those things are very important and very crucial for your well-being. But the most popular job that we probably make our liver do is filtering out alcohol. And the liver treats alcohol just like it does any other drug. It knows that it senses it in the blood and knows that it's not natural. It's not necessarily supposed to be there. So it starts taking it out of the blood to filter it out and get rid of it. And an interesting bit of science that I learned because I have a little baby and I'm breastfeeding, I had to learn how much alcohol my liver could get rid of in a certain amount of time, because alcohol ends up in breast milk and you don't want the baby getting alcohol. So you just had to make, you can mix the two. Don't mix the two. That's a bad decision. The liver can process one standard alcoholic drink per hour. So if you have a drink, you have to wait 1 hour from your last swallow of that drink before your blood can be considered clear of alcohol. That's standard. That's probably not true for everybody. The range is 1 to 4 hours, but most textbooks will say your liver can process out one standard alcoholic drink out of your blood per hour. So your standard drinks, there's usually cute little charts. One drink is 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or 1.5 ounces of straight hard liquor. So you have to be careful if you do cocktails or mixed drinks because of the different types of alcohol that may get mixed together in a drink for you by a bartender, because just because it's in one glass doesn't necessarily make it one drink. So your cocktails and your mixed drinks can include between 1 and 3 standard drink amounts of alcohol. So just because you say, oh, well, I only had 1 daiquiri, that daiquiri may have had enough alcohol in it to equal 3 standard drinks. So that would be 3 hours, not 1 hour, to be able to process that alcohol out of your body. So that is how important your liver is in detoxing your body and getting rid of all of those things that could potentially cause long-term harm if they just stayed around forever, or if we waited the long amount of time for it to actually break down by itself. Because like I said, some processes would happen naturally by themselves. It would just happen over a really long time. So having those enzymes to do that breakdown really fast for you allows your body to be very efficient. Have a great Monday, and thank your liver for detoxing you and allowing you to be awake, sober, and alert today on this Monday to start your week. And I will talk to y'all later. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes so you don't miss an episode. You can find the show notes at pharmacistanswershere.wordpress.com. If you want to join the conversation live, follow me on Periscope at Cyn Hendrix, CYNHENDRIX. You can also share your questions and comments with me on Twitter at Cyn Hendrix, or email the podcast at pharmacistanswershere@gmail.com.